You got the actual cat ears, got right there for you, Jorian.
Yeah.
That was that I got the wrong term, but no, I have cat-shaped ears. These are probably not actual cat ears. For those wondering, people are thinking like those are not cat ears. What are you going on about? I don't know. I don't know what I'm going on about either for this one. Also, my 2 plushes that you guys have been seeing gradually. Sprigatito's back here. One shot, very own Nico as well. By the way, go play one shot if you haven't. I mean, these are like the 2 closest thing I'm gonna have for cat ears tonight.
Yeah, definitely one more than the other because one of them's in the hat. But really, just in general, is like for mine now. Yes, the Pokemon that's the closest one, and the Pikachu right here. That's just called Brownie Chew because we get Dapple Productions. But yeah, the main thing is really in the cat hat allegations. Again, if you saw from last week, has been basically a Pikachu shades and 2 only cat ears, and now there's a cat shaped anime hat from what anime?
It's from a show called Durarararara. It's actually yeah, you literally do ra, and these are just basically so there's a character who actually has a helmet that has a shape. So this is just kind of what that looks like. So it's just cat shape for the most part, not actual cat ears. Surprise! These are not cat ears.
It's original. So now we have an anime hat, we have Pikachu shades, we have 2 basic cat ears, like cat headbands, and now we just have and there's still only 1 cat maid in the entire thing. We have 2 more weeks of cat maid May. Who else is gonna be bringing out the cat maid dress? Or who else?
So what you're saying is we gotta look out for the rest of the month here in SOS to see who will be the other person to dish out the cat maid outfits for the most part.
Yep.
So that you know if someone does that, I commend you for applying to the bit, and you're brave and bold. I appreciate you a lot. I don't have one. You're bold, so therefore you clearly win the month of cat maids apparently.
We need someone else to wear this, and then after that, the whole lore can be finished, and both them wearing it on stream, like on cams. That makes the most sense for the last week. If anyone does have it, like honestly, like if anyone does, that would be sick. We're calling out commentators right now for that. We know Nito. Nito did say about them having cat dress, but they can't do SOS. So, we're coming for you. We're coming for you.
Nito will be taken over by all the cats, all the cat maids for the month. I'm gonna have so many questions by the end of it. I don't know. You know what? I commend all of you for committing to the bid as much as possible. That's the key thing here. By the way, we have 2 players left ready to pick on weapons. We're going to be switching over right about now. We have things preparing us through the delays. We're back in it. Solution Rapid Blaster, no surprise from map 1, but we got to take a look at what the other team's going to be dishing out from Lush, who will be on the purple colored side. 96 Gal Deco and the Wiper and the Tri-Slash from the Bow. We do have a Kraken that is in play, but of course both teams dishing out the Order Splatter Shot.
Yeah, Order Splatter Shot is going to be the same old black and white filter on the side of, Order. But in general, we're seeing a lot from the Kraken with the Viper and with the Tri-Slosher. As it's going to be pretty good because they have more pushing power on Rainmaker themselves. But oh my god, Conflict really just dies on the jump.
That was a little unfortunate. We almost saw a very unfortunate moment there in the grand scheme of things, but they went down just before they could even make it there, leading up to that point. So we'll see what the response there from Lush does as they pick up the Rainmaker, now swinging into the other direction. I think they got met with a Trizuka shot from distance. As you do see the Ultra Stamp, they have stamped them down, and the second one happens as well. And that was, I believe, a delayed wipeout on top of it, if I'm not mistaken, but up there, as the Rainmaker will be slammed home for the first checkpoint.
Yeah, with them coming home for a checkpoint on the side Conflict, they might be able to get second for checkpoint as well, but that's going to be the Zen Tap going to be going down as well. But obviously, Kuma trying to go in for a little bit of sneak. Them still having possibility, but acing as they getting killed off. Danger getting 2 as well. That's going to be Swagger's opportunity to actually push the Rainmaker and keep on going with Kuma's help.
Yeah, they may be able to keep this one going, and nobody's defending this checkpoint. That's gonna be game 1 and almost an exact replica of what we saw from round 3 with Conflict. It's a quick map 1 for them, and a great attempt from Lush trying to go for the retake, but it just did not happen.
Yeah, it did not happen with the whole power and whole speed of Conflict. They were just able to go onto the advantage with the help of the double from acing as well near by the end. And literally with that, we're going to be moving on to game 2 with Krampus or Scorch. Nothing else to really say about it than 100-0.
Yeah, that's that. Yep, nothing else to really note. We move on to that Scorch Clan Blitz matchup, and I think Lush just got the first punch. Has been drawn the first punch. Still, basically, you lose this one, you're pretty much out. So they of course want to win this one, try to extend this to that third map in to make marked zones. But I imagine with Lush now realizing, okay, now that they've been playing aggressive, they're playing well controlled. They're just trying to see if they can find a response. I know Trizuka's that shot with the Trizuka has had other ideas so far from Conflict, so Lush just looking to see if they can find any semblance of a response to see if they can force the game 3.
Literally any opportunity may be possible, but now since the snowball map is out of proportion, Clapson scores, it's going to be more of a equalizer. By equalizer is Lush has more chance to come in. Kraken cheese is gone. One thing to know about that. So Kraken, get that out of there. We have back. But literally at the same time too, we still have Hammer on the side of Lush. We still do have the Tri-Slosher. That's still pretty good as well. So really, on the side of the 96 Goblin who did play the Kraken, you don't really need that anymore. You can still do that for pushing and for more aggro advantages, but you can really play like another shot or something too. That would be really fine as well. Or regular 52. That as well.
Yeah, and yeah, you know there too. Kraken, of course, getting the getting the interaction change for the most part. You can't actually jump to the Kraken where it stands. It will only jump to the place it was called. So Kraken, if you were to do a Kraken cheese strat for whatever reason, you've already basically at that point won the fight. So it's just there to reinforce more pushing power, but it isn't going to be your push initiator in that regard. So both teams, as you mentioned before, stamps for day is probably the best choice you can make in Scorch Clans, but ultimately I feel like you can go a lot of different directions in this map.
And that's going to be going, well, there's the grades. People really don't go on the grades though, honestly, because it's really just a chance that you will get sacrificed and get too good to the pace. But on the right side though, we do see them going for that first one, just going for the lead and going all together there. As we see on the maps and weapons coming up, immediately we are going to be seeing not really any change other than the rapid blast, no, other than the custom blaster, and so Kraken.
Yep. So there's the custom blaster. We know there too. Kraken only at that point, if you have the Kraken, you can't use it to initiate the push anymore. It will just jump straight to when the Kraken got popped. So you have to put your Kraken in an actual position where you already have secured the point. You just want to get the jumps in at that stage. But at that point, you've already lost the fight. So you need to see how Lush can make this one work. Little curious on the blaster with the triple splash, and I feel like that may not be a bad choice in the grand scheme of things with the way the map's laid out for the blaster in general. So looking to see how Lush fights back as again both teams gathering players.
Yeah, obviously, what Lush we're going to be going in with 3 clams on the advantage of the whole, but we still see on Conflict they had the rapid blaster on basic, having 5 clams on the hold, with the shot having 2 clams on the hold right now. So really, but Lush having not that much pace, but getting a kill as well, this might be the chance for Conflict to push ahead even more.
Yeah, but going 2 down isn't really going to help matter. So they're going to have to just slow down just a tiny bit more. In this case. So Lush, by the way, 2 specials available. There's the cooler being dished out there. They take up the opposing team Zap. So let's see how they try to get this push going. Again, looking to see how they can utilize the Kraken and that triple splashdown if they can even take advantage of it. As Trixie's just caught into a corner and they lose 2 members, but they don't lose any specials until that exact moment. They lose 4 right out of the game. Delayed wipeout is going to effectively seal this push in for Conflict there as the Trizuka being dished out on top of this one. They may be able to get 3 clans, which they did just then, and they may be able to get a lot more, but the Ultra Sand being dished out there, they can't actually throw those clans in anymore. It's Kraken used defensively. First push starts with 1+3 on the board for Conflict.
Yeah, but say about the defense of the Kraken though, that then cancelling out there, Hammond's going to be really good on defense on their spot. But Sky trying to be jumping back in the base as well, trying to set up another score in. Actually killing off Acing as well, knowing that they were already there. But it's tough for Sky, but he's getting a double now, maybe getting a tip off bounce. They will have control on mid for the side of Lush and maybe get another score in, but they need to pass the claps to each other.
Yeah, those were nice picks, by the way, from Sky on top of it, too, just to assert any semblance of control around mid and then try to see if they can push up ahead. They use that cooler, but by the way, that Trizuka takes 1 member up top, and the rest of the team follows suit. But where are the clans? That's the important thing right now, because they only have 5 small clans. This appears to be a push that may not happen here if they can't reassert control as much as possible. Sky only has 7 clams. There's the other small clam in. This push at least comes in. Now the Kraken being used to build out space. They take out 2 members more on top of it. But where's the follow-up? That's the important question. There's that follow-up. There should be a lead change, maybe, unless the Sploosh has other things to say. And it actually may not be a lead change. It ends in a tie, I believe.
Oh.
No, they get that small clam in. The lead has been changed. That was clutch at the very least. 2 minutes and 5 seconds left to go on the clock, and Lush barely has a lead.
Yeah, talk about barely getting a lead. Jai was barely able to get out of it, but they got cut off by the help of the whole team of Conflict. And for right now, it's going to be a battle of control in mid. Again, Conflict having more of the main spots depth and also having the split advantage as well. Then it was going to be able to cook and able to just mess around, just pinning someone to mid. But XYL having something to say about it with the Zuka kill to the face, and as well on the shot inside the Conflict. They are going to be doing Zuka revenge as well, but Split's going to go down, Blast is going to go down. That's going to be really just still a whole fist fight on mid. Battling against Conflict space this time, not Lushes.
Yeah, now Lush with 2 players just finding picks left and right, and it's just an Inkjet that's just trying to build up any semblance of space there, but this is all Lush's territory to boot now. If you're Lush, I would not be shocked if they're still trying to go for a push here at this stage, which shouldn't be surprising because, again, that's just barely a lead. If I do the math here, yeah, 1 power claim enough to swap leads quick for Conflict. They need to build themselves a much bigger lead and try to get a better push in. Losing this fight is going to be devastating here as there's 1 power claim that's available, but Lush goes 3 down, and there will be a lot of clam gathering here. Conflict maybe looking to get the lead here soon, and they should be able to.
Yeah, if you see the jumping coming as well, but that's going to be Wipeout. That is still going to be swap change. That's so unfortunate for Wipeout though, because Conflict is not able to continue that push. But again, they just need to play defense for the next 43 seconds or wait for the next 55 seconds because that overtime is going to be powering out soon enough. As we see Trixie on the zap, is playing on the ball with the Western team of Lush, having so many times to play to win. What's going to happen, Keon?
Yeah, well, the big thing too here, Lush, if you get 1 power clam and you already wrestle lead it with so barely any time left on the clock, Conflict has to play the defense of their life, and they're able to take out 2. XYL down to Swagger. This jump is going to get punished here. It is going to be a 2-for-2 trade on both sides. Swagger has to win up this fight. They do barely do just that. Now, is there any power clam left in the tank? Yes, there is just 1 power clam in, but that is available, but they have to win the fight right now. Lush needs to be able to assert control. They're going to pick up the mini clam before at least get overtime in the menu, but they have to. But that overtime timer is going to slowly tick down. Kraken's been popped at, from what I noticed there, do we see the space that's being built out here on top of this? Inkjet's been popped up. Then all they gotta do is just defend the base with all their might. Lush is just stuck. Trixie's making the jump here. They just gotta throw it in, and they do not. They do not get it in. Time has ran out on them, and Conflict barely scrapes by with a 2-0 set victory.
Yeah, the last few seconds of Billy were just automating on the jump. They were just waiting for that whole pass because they had no cooler actually in the air. We saw it, Trixie just trying to go in for the final jump, but because of not enough time and able to just camp out, they were just playing so slow, but at the same time playing so defensive. At the same time, for Conflict, they just had way too much defense. They were not able to get kills off for anyone, and literally because of that, we got to see Conflict going with a 2-0 by the skin of the teeth.
Probably the closest 2-0 I don't think Conflict was expecting for the most part there that evening. And just a quick little recap for Great White Brackets round 1. Yeah, Conflict for game 1 was pretty much a push that goes 100-0. Again, maybe a little too much focus on the Inkjet. A lot more back and forth. Kind of just came down to literally a battle of seconds to see if the game 3 was even going to be forced. Lush just falls just a bit short of the marker you mentioned before. Trixie, just not enough time left on the clock. I think it was just a frame 1 death that pretty much did him in. Conflict advances 2-0. Jorian, that's going to be it for both of us, though, because we got a new set of commentators to wrap us home from whatever this zany Wednesday is going to play out to be. You obviously don't want to miss that part for everybody else. So, Jorian, thank you for being my partner for this one. Apologies on that. Where can the people find you?
You can find me Jorian51 in the bottom layer. You can find me joining to Twitch. You can find me doing stuff, like the spec cam and also streaming for Double Productions in a month because I'm going to be taking a break a little bit, but also commentary maybe next week for as well, who knows. But also, again, LTC this weekend. You're going to be seeing me there, but not doing anything else other than maybe one pool happening, but also playing as well. But Keon, what about you? And what about what con you might be going to soon enough as well?
Yeah. So you guys can find me Twitter, Twitch, Blue Sky. You can find Kion2570, of course, named down there as well. Twitter and Blue Sky for the nonsense. Twitch for the variety. As I always like to say, smash the follow button if you want to follow me on that. You mentioned before which con I'm going to. MomoCon in a couple of weeks. There is supposedly a Splatoon 3 tournament that will be played over there as well, so you don't want to miss that part. Jordan, once again, thank you for being on the mic with me. Shout out to Ryan, who's in production here tonight. Ryan is still going to be staying with y'all because we got 2 new set of commentators coming up. So when we return from the break, there will be a continuation of Great White Brackets until the finish line is met. So you don't want to go anywhere. We'll be right back for more SOS.
And also for Cat Made Wednesdays.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Swim or Sink. I'm Toma, joined by Saf, and we have some two special guests. This is Diona. Say hi to the stream, Diona. She's a biggest fan, my biggest supporter. Saf, who you got there with you?
This is Kilala. Oh, I don't know if anybody heard that, but this is Kilala. She's very fluffy, and she does not like what I'm doing right now, but she's being nice about it.
Yeah, Diona's also not the happiest right now. She's kind of like, can you put me down? She'll get put down when the game starts. She can...
Right?
she can deal with being on stream for the intro. That's why she gets spoiled and pampered. Isn't that right, baby? She's like, no comment.
Yeah, look at... Yeah, no, right? She's like...
I'm just gonna hold her like a baby. She's
That's
not a real
perfect.
cat. She just lets me do whatever I want to her.
I know, that's... I like that you... I have to say it again, your cat prop is so good.
My little
It's-
Scaramouche cat.
it's
He's
so good.
held up here by a hair tie. I was like, how do I like get the cat theme together in time? I was like, come here, little Scaramouche cat. You're getting tied to my headphone.
Yeah. Well, listen, you also have to understand, right? Like, Toma and I were like, what are you gonna do? Do you have ears? Do you have this? And they were like, no. And I'm like, okay, well, you gotta think of something.
We had to like think so fast on our feet. Like we reserved this block in front of LTC a while back, so we're like, oh, cat maid May. Okay, well we're gonna have to. Maybe I'll have like the full cat maid outfit later in the month.
Someday it'll be real. We just have to wait for that day. But listen, Toma, Great White, SOS 147, Great White. We have Nawal versus Face.
That's what we're gonna call them.
Yeah.
What else do we call them?
You know, that actually goes kind of hard. I'm not gonna lie.
Nawal versus Face is kind of maybe one of the craziest matchups we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty wild, honestly. I don't think anything before has ever been done. But also, like, wow, I'm looking at the roster of Face here, and holy smokes, you got some really, really heavy hitters here over on the Face side of things. But over at Nawal, though, Nawal looking pretty decent as well. I mean, you also got some frequent flyers in the comp scene here over on Nawal too. So that's really an awesome matchup to be had. Also, Nawal has swept their group stage, Toma. I want to point that out as well. That's again, you're going in with a lot of momentum into Great White bracket, and the fact that you made Great White bracket has got to be feeling pretty good. More to come on Face. I think Face has also swept their bracket, and they went 2-0 in the first round of Great White. So both teams looking for a pretty solid win here, Toma.
Yeah, alright, Saf, I think these are two teams that have both won SOS before, so they definitely are able to do it. Where did I say? Saf, did you just see that? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Is this the crab meta again? Like,
it was like, what are you saying? And then I'm speechless.
Yeah. I was like, is that triple splash? I don't even think it's the days of crab meta that we ran triple splash.
I mean, well, you know what? Face is gonna bring it out here as one crab has already been popped in the first couple of seconds in the game in the opening statements here. One member of Nawal going down. Actually, all three crabs, Toma, going down on the side of Face. Definitely not saving any Face here as they're going to be the first ones to make the tech point.
No, they're not. Who's Jelly here? Already picking up that Rainmaker, going to be trying to make a push happen. And Zap, though, look at this. That crab is going to be forcing that Rainmaker back. Jelly, though, drops behind that piece of cover really fast. Lumi answers with a crab of their own. And now this inkable area that's, recently been changed, it's going to be just a breeze. And as soon as I say that, I was like, oh, it's going to be a breeze for points. And then they go down right before it. And now, looks like Nawal is getting control here, trying to get this area back under their control. And that wipeout, that's going to do it for them. Going to allow them to buy some more time to get back on their feet.
Yeah, I really enjoyed seeing that from Lexi. What a game-ending trade to get there. And you can see Spec, that bubble was there just in the nick of time for them to almost make it into the barrier, but still, nonetheless, down to the 8 mark here. And finally, Nawal is going to make a response here. And you can see all 3 members with the splashes are already back and ready for action in the mid zone. They want to be trying to get as much, capitalize on as much ink as they can, but also you want to be getting a crab right away into that mid zone there. And you got to appreciate Nero also trying to come back in from the back end just to make sure that there was nobody there, like maybe hiding in the corners.
Yeah, well, and I think you saw the spec cam on the side there that somebody was going up that ledge, but it looks like they got distracted by something and ended up not going all the way for the Rainmaker, so perhaps they saw that flank coming ahead of time. But it doesn't matter now because Nawal is in control. This Rainmaker going to be pushing it here on this left-hand side. Looks like they do have the space here cleared. Trying to go, as soon as I say that though, that pencil is going to be putting down a lot of burst paint, trying to stop them from coming out. 2 down on the side of Nawal. They're going to be making a mad break for that checkpoint, but they do find it, Seth.
Yeah, just in the nick of time as well, as IB Wumi goes down in a fight with Nero, but then a trade to occur right there. So FaZe finally going to be making a follow-up here. They did get the first checkpoint, however, that is a steep mountain to climb from 60 down to the 7 mark to try and flip the lead at the very least. So who's Jelly here, looking in to grab some paint, but also making sure that Rainmaker is going to, in fact, reset down in the middle. And this is going to be a really great time for FaZe to try to make some headway once again as 2 members of Nawal make it 3, go down, and they are now back at the spawning point.
Yeah, they are. Jelly with this Rainmaker in hand, looking and fighting that splash down there as well. And now South, you know, they don't even have to extend their lead, but as far as they can push it into Nawal's territory is going to be buying them some time as they're just trying to wind down this clock, which is a minute and a half about remaining. The Booyah Bomb coming out onto that Rainmaker, but Jelly just dodging expertly with these grades, staying alive. And look at the survivability, finally going down, but look how much time they bought off that clock, Saf.
Yeah, I was just jumping in my seat there for a second, Tomo, because Albert there on the side got forcibly pushed off of the right-hand grate, which was huge for the survivability of the Rainmaker carrier at that time. Even though someone was able to break through and swoop around from the other side, sure. But still, imagine the capability or the opening that they could have had that extra person or body not been there. Having the power to force somebody away from like where you're trying to go is such a strong move. And I mean, FaZe holding down this defense as we enter the last minute of the game, it's going to be crucial for them here.
Jumping back out with that crab team, keeping it online, and now popping it on the Rainmaker, going to be finding a pick. Just 2 splashes up, 45 seconds remaining. FaZe has a lot of territory under their control at the moment, and a cooler out to boot, meaning if they go down, they're going to be back in a flash. Spec has this Zipcaster ready to go to try to add some additional pressure, but is unfortunately going to go down. Is going to save that special with the power of this cooler, and now Nawal has to make it come together here on this push. Just about 25 seconds remaining.
Yeah, and look at Nero just trying to hold up the back end there. You can see Spec, though, trying to come in and maybe cause a little bit of chaos. Going in for the Rainmaker to no avail. That suction bomb is also going to be blocked. This is the follow-up that Nawal was looking for here. All of this ink, all of this paint output towards the Rainmaker. It is the pedestal, it is in sight, going down at the 22 mark, but the pressure is still on, but not enough people to be there to even just put a finger on it. So Nawal, unfortunately, going down to FaZe holding on strong to the defense.
Yeah, unfortunate there, just kind of running out of time. And Saf, I think, you know, if you had even like an extra 5 seconds there, you could have potentially seen a game-flipping change there. That inkable surface now being in that kind of choke point before where you couldn't ink and you just had to brute force it through has made scores on this map fly so much faster.
Right. And one thing I want to note too is like these folks that we're seeing over on the side of FaZe, like I kind of want to just like talk about this comp for a second. Like you have one member from XOXO hanging out in there. You also, and not only that, but Spec is a very, very skilled wiper player. However, you also see that you have XF on that team following up as well, and also a very skilled wiper player. So it's fun to see that this is a very specialized weapon class going down over here. And it's nice to see that there's also follow-up from some weapons like the blaster, for example. You had Lexi following up and being very aggressive with that blaster, using that bubble so efficiently. I mean, gosh, can we talk about just when they got down to that 8 mark and they launched that bubble right there? I mean, that bubble existed there after they respawned in. Like, they had enough time to, I don't even think they had cooler, Toma. They had enough time to respawn, to jump back into the bubble right before that bubble broke when Spec was trying to jump in and just save themselves with that barrier. So just a really awesome coordination of specials all around coming out from FaZe.
Yeah, that was huge for them. And now, I'm glad you mentioned the bubble pop there, because honestly, I didn't even know how they got back in, because I saw the bubble destroyed, so I didn't realize they got the jump off before the bubble went off. So that was a key play. That really made that ending push come together for them. And Nawal, I just don't think was prepared for the kind of pressure that they brought to the table.
Right, and I think Nawal had a really good follow-up. It's like you said, sometimes time is just not on your side, and I think for this example, Nawal experienced that. Like, the time, it was not for them in this round, and I mean, they had the momentum, Toma. I mean, they did lose their Rainmaker carrier right then and there, like in the final seconds. However, there were still 3 of them there to make a quick pop and contest the members of FaZe, what I'm now being told is Lenny FaZe, in their spawn. So, I mean, they had all the tools at their disposal. They had, like, the price was almost right. Price was almost right, and we'll see if they can bring it together on Hagglefish Market, Splat Zones, and SAF. That is a classic stage, and I mean, if you're gonna break out a triple splash comp, you're gonna have a map like this where Crab is so vital. So strong. I'm not going to say it's necessarily vital, but it works out well for them. But it doesn't even look like they're going to be sticking that. I think they're kind of thinking, it's probably time to lock in here. No Crabs to be seen on their side, coming out with much more conventional comps. Yeah, and you have to appreciate that some folks are trying to, like, sub-pencil in and out where they want to and, like, where it makes sense, which, I mean, I'm sure some of us appreciate that, and some people are like, hey, you know what, like, why don't you just play what works? But looking at Lenny FaZe here, they're gonna do just that, because with holding pencil on their side, they've got plenty of ink, especially with the dualies and the splatter shot to follow up here. And already, they're gonna make a splash as they are taking the zone first.
Yes, they are, but unfortunately,
Speaking of,
Nawal making a splash there, and now Nawal, though, it does look like they have a good opportunity to take this zone back, putting down a lot of pressure. This Booyah Bomb is going to be coming out, giving them a little room to paint, but the suction bombs are ruthless. Saf going to be finding one. The Trizuka trying to find another, but ultimately going down. Lenny FaZe is holding this zone for now, but Nero's just ready to try to contest if they can survive this incoming Zipcaster.
Yeah, and Spec on the Zipcaster is so deadly, Toma. I mean, they know how to use the weapon, they know how to utilize the vertical surfaces at their disposal, and they can do just that, as look at this, Albert just kind of holding it down on the midsection here, waiting for those jumps to come in. Couple of casualties happening, make it 3 casualties, a few, as Lexi's coming through with that Trizuka, following up with the wipeout. Lenny FaZe makes the zone flip.
Yeah, huge picks for them there. As soon as they finally found their footing, you saw that they were just kind of able to pincer in and close up those fights. This is why Lenny FaZe has been doing so great. I mean, you've seen these players constantly coming in at the top of weeklies, and they're showing exactly why. They're now through that penalty, counting down onto the zone, and they're still keeping this pressure up, picking off the Zuka.
Yeah, and I mean, Who's Jelly is being so comfortable there and making so much space for Lexi to work with to try to move around with that Zuka. And I mean, look at this Sprinkler too, just doing work on that back end of the zone there, just making sure. I mean, look at that Trizuka shot, it's already covered up. I mean, no time being wasted, or ink being wasted for that matter, for Lenny FaZe to try to make the follow-up here, but the Booyah Bomb is going to cause the lockout and for the tides to turn, because look at all 4 members of Nawal here. All of them already up and coolered and ready to go with no penalty in sight.
Yes, they are, Saf. They just need to try to win these fights, and no penalty in sight. So they do have the opportunity to try to bring this down and flip that if they can just keep Lennyface staggered. A pick onto the Stamper is great to start. They need to find others. Lexi is moving in with that Trizuka. The wall saves Albert, allowing Albert to try to take this fight with Lexi, but what even happened there? The zone flipped behind them. Spec finding the full wipe. I think that we had to see some action there with Spec and Jelly going on.
Yeah, it must have been some sort of flank because, yeah, the camera flipped around from Spec's perspective, and then there it was. The zone was completely purple, so there had to have been some flank going on from Nawal, but Nawal having such a strong presence in the spawning point, and it just goes to show how quick that pressure can change and shift, because already, look at all these specials coming out. Now it's just a firefight in a battle to the end because, I mean, Lennyface doesn't want to be losing their lead here as Aizen is going in for the double, make it a triple, and finally going down in the trade, resulting in Nawal taking the zone back with jumps to spare and come in, and they're trapping these two members of Lennyface from retreating, which is exactly what you want to be doing when you have three members down. They're going to take full advantage again of trying to put the pressure on in this court area.
Yeah, now Nawal's got this great space. They're through their penalty now, Saf, so they have the opportunity to try to flip lead, but they need to keep their presence up. The shot goes down. Spec is over here fighting Aizen. The Booyah Bomb comes out. There's two down on the side of Lennyface, and they manage to flip the zone once again while we're not looking at it. And this is just crazy. The pace. Oh my god, I almost called you Skep. Saf. That is going out and just trading. Every time we look away, if you take your eyes off that zone for too long, Lennyface just flips it.
Yeah, you gotta be mindful of them, because look at Spec trying to come in from the right-hand flank there, and Ray's being in a good place to take them out. Woomy also trying to come in and look for a battle, but finding no success. And again, look at this. All members of Lennyface are wasting no time to push up to the zone, Toma. They are not afraid, and their own penalty now being taken down, but not for long, as Nawal finally comes in and actually pushes the members of Lennyface away from their cooler spot there. But man, these flanks that they have, Toma, this is going to be Nawal's downfall if they can't hold on in the final stretch as we enter overtime.
Yeah, they have to make sure that they're not overcommitting to those fights on the side where they lose the zone like has been going on. Right now, they have to hold it, and two down. That looks to be dangerous. There goes the zone for Lennyface, and they're able to get that 2-0. Oh my gosh, Saf.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. That was a tough game to watch because Nawal had it. Nawal had it in their pockets. I mean, and it's not like they were doing anything like incorrectly, right? Like they took advantage of when men were down. They tried to push themselves forward. They tried to take the fights in the pit, and they tried to entice the members of Lennyface into the pit. But it's exactly that. Lennyface had the upper hand and the leg up on going in on those flanks, and that can especially be said for Spec. Because Spec consistently on that Zipcaster was on the right or the left-hand side. So it's one of those things where it's like you can do so many things correctly and be in the right place, but like you just couldn't let anybody slip through the crack there. And I think consistently when we would see them get that far, just that one person would slip through the crack.
Of course, and like that, I think the combination of Spec being able to come in on the side and poke, and then you have Jelly on that pencil that was able to provide the burst paint to cover the Stamper, since the Stamper doesn't paint as well by itself, was really so dangerous for them to be able to flip the zone there, and you really had to keep an eye on those two, especially, I believe Jelly on that pencil is Harshi, who has been just absolutely blazing through these weeklies, taking win after win after win. Lennyface really showing us that they're in it to potentially win it tonight.
Right? And dude, another thing I want to point out, we got to talk about Axel, who is running as Aizen on Nawal. Wow, their results are staggering. Also, they have ran the SOS gauntlet, let me tell you. They have results and gold medals from SOS 26, 56, and 45.
Oh my gosh.
No stranger to SOS by any means. But also, like, you're exactly right. Like, in it to win it. Because they know that they can, because they've done it before.
Yes, they have. Like, that's what I was saying, is that these teams have been incredible in their runs through this tournament before. We've seen them time and time again, maybe under different names, before, at least on the side of Lenny Face, but Nawal is definitely no stranger to SOS. Going down in losers in Great White quarterfinals is still a really, really good run on them, though, and it's just going to show quite how stacked this SOS is tonight, and that's not surprising. We're seeing that LTC is this week coming up, and I think a lot of these teams that may potentially be going are trying to get that one last run in.
Yeah. And I'm really hopeful for the folks that do get to attend LTC this weekend, that if you are playing in this tournament, this is getting you hyped up and like getting you really truly ready for what's ahead. But Toma, look at the screen. Justice for Spargo versus 37 Beautiful Boys Co. Beautiful Boys has been doing work, let me tell you. They were previously in in Proving Grounds, and they were crushing it in Proving Grounds. They were doing so well. I believe Beautiful Boys is made up of some folks that were from XOXO, and there's also a couple of other people, I believe, that are also a part of that mix. But
Yeah.
I just think that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, 37 Beautiful Boys too has had a absolutely dominant run through their group stage tonight, not dropping a single game. You know, worth note, Duck and Cover was in their group, a really, really strong team as well that they were able to square off with and find a 2-0 there in groups. Justice for Spargo, on the other hand, they had a bye in their round in groups, so they only got to play 2 matches. They did drop 1 game to Easy Squeezy Kraken Cheesy there, but of course, as we both know, I think we love to talk about the storylines of where these teams have come from the tournaments, but past results are dropping games versus having perfect runs. You know, somebody's got to be that run ender for teams.
Yeah, you're absolutely right on that. But you know, a lot of the folks that playing on 37 Beautiful Boys and Company tonight have a lot of really significant results. So again, like, what's the beauty of pickups is that you can have a lot of really, really stacked people that have like run the gauntlet of all these different tournaments, and then they come together and play on a team, and then you get something like Beautiful Boys. You also get something like Prickly Pear Lemonade with Pika, Shiny, Mudcup, and Pepe. Some folks from Cherry Limeade are still in our midst with just a couple of other friends playing with them. You know, so it's like, it's fun when you still get like a lot of those higher level folks and you see them again and you're like, oh, hey, you know what? You're like, you know, you're not like, oh, you're still around, but like you get to see them almost in a new light because they're playing like in a different composition and they're playing with new people and like with friends, and I don't know, like it's such a fun thing to see. It's fun to see the transition of of individuals in that way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's fun to see when these players that you know well or that you've seen around through multiple tournaments just getting to absolutely tear through it, even if it isn't with their, you know, typical team that they may be playing with. You know, like in the last one, we saw some really notable players. We saw like Lexi, we saw Harshi, and this one, Fishy's here. Fishyism's been, you know, a staple player recently in a whole lot of tournaments, been doing very, very well for themselves. And it's cool to see those kind of play out. And, you know, a pickup, like we always say, you know, it's good to see them in a different light, and it'll always turn out differently too. You know, I may expect to see them playing with their typical team one way and just see something completely crazy come out whenever they're playing with new people.
Right. And I want to also, Toma, a lot of these folks too, for maybe folks that like to think of results or how like people's skill level based on Ludi division, for example, a lot of these folks that you see on the screen, if you didn't know already, a lot of these folks are like Division 1 people. So these people have like done it. They've done it before many a time, and they're playing with people that are also in their same wheelhouse. So it's, again, like when people come together as pickups, and even if they're like friends or if they played together before, maybe they haven't played together before, it's always impressive because those like underlying things about the game and like how things work, is just understood, even though maybe you've never played with this other Division 1 player before. So that's what's always really impressive to see, because it's like maybe and I believe like nope, I lost my train of thought. It just went out the window. But you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying. You know, we're both there. My brain has been a little bit fried today in the panic of, oh my god, I haven't packed a single thing for LTC.
Right, I know. We're both like, yeah, that's in a couple days.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is.
I'm seeing you in like 2 days, less than 2 days.
This is so crazy. We're gonna gab about it on mic. I'm like, like, you know, you, Falco, everybody. I am so excited. Which here, IPL stream, if you're coming to LTC, you better come see me and Saf. We want to see literally everybody that we can.
Yeah. If you're going to LTC, make sure you come and say hello, and like don't be shy, because like we want you to do that. We want you to come and say hello to us and talk to us, and we want to meet you. So,
really the magic of lands, but lands aside, Justice for Spargo versus 37 Beautiful Boys. We're gonna be starting off on Ship-Shaped Tower, Saf. And this has become a, pretty staple map throughout most tournaments. What here do you think are going to be the keys we got to look for?
I mean, with this one, in my opinion, the key is always who is going to really sink their teeth into the top middle section, because obviously the first 2 checkpoints really rely on that higher ground, but also it's like who is going to be brave enough to be taking fights over to that great section, right? Because that's a straightaway to that top middle section, and so you got to be mindful. Especially you see that solely on the Squiffer there. The range is on the side of 37 Beautiful Boys here, and you got to be watching out for solely on that Squiffer, Toma. I'm telling you right now, because they can be pretty nasty with it if you're not careful.
Yeah, it's fun to see Squiffer plays. I've seen, plenty of it throughout IPL tournaments, seeing like Jade from Orca Balestra running Squiffer, and it makes some funny clips, especially with that new kit, but the Squiffer is unfortunately going to be going down as we start. 37 Beautiful Boys finding some good picks, but you're still just having kind of this back and forth trade right now as both teams are vying for that tower. Looks like Justice for Spargo, though, is finally starting to gain that upper hand, getting some paint on the ground and some splats over here, looking over at Pigeon, trying to stop the retreat, but not going to be able to do so in time. They are at checkpoint 1, got a Zuka to be able to bring out here. It's looking good for them so far.
Yeah, and as this tower finally rolls past that first checkpoint, we're going on to checkpoint number 2 here pretty shortly. Look at Crossroad and another player trying to get the members of Beautiful Boys in a 2 versus 1 scenario, which is more than ideal. And look at that! Crossroad utilizing the jump off there and throwing the wall for just some extra insurance. 3 members of Beautiful Boys going down. Now that tower is going to sail to checkpoint number 2. And again, Toma, what did I say? Strong foothold on these upper areas here, because look at Crossroads and Luke already just trying to cause havoc here. Luke going in for the side flank as this tower is about to sail to the final checkpoint.
Yeah, that was just a textbook play there, Saf, going up there on that top right-handed. I think, of course, that Zuka getting 2 into the kind of choke point there in their base allowed the 52 there to just run forward, get up into the corner, and be an absolute nuisance, and just apply additional pressure with the fire from the tower as well. And that's kind of what secured it there for them. And once they had that space, it's really hard to stop the snowball.
Yeah, it's very challenging for sure. And I mean, it's one of those things too where, like, again, like those upper areas around those checkpoints is really the key positions that you want to be taking, because you saw as soon as that second checkpoint fell for Justice for Spargo, immediately Crossroad and Luke were collapsing in on that left hand side from the perspective of Beautiful Boys, and we're immediately there, and Luke went in and got the double pick. Unfortunately lost 1 member of their team. However, I mean, it didn't matter because that pressure was immediately alleviated as soon as it spawned back into the map. So right place, right time for Justice for Spargo. Can they do it again with Mahi Mahi Resort? Especially considering that the topography here changes midway through the game. And how do you utilize that? Is the Squiffer going to be the option here for a longer range weapon? Like, are we going to stick with that? Maybe that'll get changed out. Who knows? I mean, because once those platforms fall and the middle section just becomes one giant open field with a couple obstacles, I mean, it can get pretty dicey.
It sure can get dicey.
Scrappy.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm not quite sure what we'll be seeing come out for them from that range. I don't necessarily know if it's Squiffer's strongest map, but Saf, I've seen weirder picks come out, so you never know what to expect. But I definitely think that aggressiveness that they had to just kind of come forward, and we see Dynamo. Oh my gosh, see, this is what we see. Did you see the Swiffer still coming out? And Dreadbringer too. Was that in the last
Wait,
game?
Dreadbringer!
I don't think it was.
No, it wasn't.
Oh my gosh. This
okay, well listen. Okay, so that's interesting to me, Tomo. That makes me wonder, especially because they did see that the assessment from the Squiffer, and they chose to come out with something that's very stationary here. So I think Justice for Spargo is feeling pretty, dare I say it, ballsy, as they are entering in the first 30 seconds of this game, and already 30 seconds are gone off the clock.
Yes, 30 seconds are gone off that clock, but we see that Justice for Spargo is able to come back in. They don't stop the zone from flipping, but they are able to take 3 down in the process, which makes it pretty easy to flip it back. And now you got
cross.
Oh my gosh, Stop the double, looking for the triple. They're able to find it, but they do go down themselves. And now look here, you've got Luke in that excellent position, just trying to hold the space, looking for that Zuka. The water is going to drop now. That topography of the map will be changing, and they're trying to look into the corner. They find a pick onto Sully there, and now finally they're gonna hold the zone with the Reef Slider. Oh my gosh. Sam.
Yeah, and look at Pigeon. Pigeon going in for one pick. They're going in for another. They get some pressure from the Dynamo, so they do back away. However, their teammates are there to help and follow up. Sully going down mid-Zipcaster, so not really finding any utility with that. And a quick zone flip from Justice for Spargo. You gotta be watching where that Sprinkler and that Dynamo are gonna swing, because when that Sprinkler hits the ground and then that swing, the horizontal swing, comes down from the Dynamo, I mean, it is more paint output than you would expect it to be, and it was just enough to get that zone flipped back over to Justice for Spargo here. But Beautiful Boys still not hesitating in the fight. As you can see, Sully is back in the game, taking in one splat, looking for the second, and finds contact and landing back on the midsection here. That penalty is gone. 3 minutes left remaining.
Yeah, this time suction bomb means that Sully's gonna be staying alive here, but gonna be ridden over by a Reef Slider there. And just as I thought that was gonna cap the zone, as Reef tends to do, 37 Beautiful Boys is gonna hold it open. They have this cooler online to try to sustain this push. We may potentially see a lead swap here, but Crossroad's gonna be trying to prevent that if they can. The bombs go down. They're looking at Liar here. Here comes that Reslider, and Saf, they're able to hold it just in time. They need to find some more picks to try to create this pressure forward, and there goes one onto Pigeon. Now this is setting them up for a pretty scary situation if you're 37 Beautiful Boys.
Yeah, and look at Dark for Justice for Spargo here, going right next to that cooler, looking in to try to take the fight. They see their teammates taking the left ground. They're like, all right, then I can go below. Already getting a lot of damage onto that Crab Tank, and the Crab Tank not really... Oh, I spoke too soon. I thought the Crab Tank was not going to find too much value. Now Pigeon going down. 37 Beautiful Boys in the wipeout now, with Justice for Spargo just cruising down through the last 10 unit points of the zone. And the Reef Slider is going to come in just for a little more insurance to help Luke out get the double splat right at the end there. Justice for Spargo pulling it out again right at the end.
Huge right there. And Saf, I have to say right now, I think the biggest, we're seeing really good fights, right? But I think the biggest difference here is just the level of confidence that Justice for Spargo is going in with. We see really good mechanics on the side of 37 Beautiful Boys, but their pushes just aren't quite as fast. They aren't taking those fights quite as daringly, and Justice for Spargo is just kind of throwing everything they have at 37 Beautiful Boys every single time they can.
Yeah, and what I really want to point out is that this group has been so good at providing the assist damage that other folks need to finish the fights. And I mean, it was perfectly executed in those last few seconds there. That Reef Slider zoomed in. 2 members of 37 Beautiful Boys were critically injured from that. And the Suction Bomb just did the cleanup work right after that from Luke.
Yes,
and that was it. All they did was press one, look in a direction and press one button, and the timing of events happened. The universe said, this is how it's gonna go. And then there you go, a double splat right in the last 2 seconds of the game. So, I mean, Justice for Spargo, I think the question I have for 37 Beautiful Boys is, how do you try to mitigate all of that chip damage and all of that poking damage that's coming from them? Because it just seems like consistently there is critical damage being done from Justice for Spargo, not quite going in for the full kill, just trying to maybe do a little bit of damage, and then if somebody else that's a little more gutsy can pull through and finish that fight for them. So, like you said, it's not that 37 Beautiful Boys aren't doing the right mechanics, because they absolutely are. But it's just one of those things where, like, Justice for Spargo is just being more confident in taking those fights.
Yep, absolutely. And, you know, they just need to try to find that coordination, get together a little bit. I think they need to really utilize those coolers when they have them to just push forward as fast as they can. Because, right, you go down a cooler, it truly does not matter too much. You're going to be back in just a flash. You've got all of your specials still saved. It's really minimizing your loss for taking a death there. On the other hand, though, if you get a pick, that becomes insanely more valuable. So I need to see them play off that, use that speed going forward, and they have to really, really watch out for how fast these pushes are coming. And, oh, what do I even say? Like...
Okay, listen. Justice for Spargo has 2... Oh, actually, no, I'm thinking of the folks from 37 Beautiful Boys. 37 Beautiful Boys has the Jet Scrolser enthusiasts. It's been flipped, Toma. We've been bamboozled.
Wait, I'm confused. It's not 37. It is Justice for Spargo right now.
Yes, yes.
Oh, I'm so. Did you not? Okay, I can hear tonight. I guess I was confused there for a second.
No, what I'm saying is that on 37 Beautiful Boys, there are 2 folks, or there is at least one person that is like very, very heavily pro Jet Sculpture. However, on Justice for Spargo, though, you also have Emmett, who is also very, very adamant on the Jet Sculpture use. So one of these things is not like the other, because one of them is a very, very pro Jet Sculpture user.
Okay, I got you. I was so confused. Like, you had my, like, I was like, huh? It took me a second. It's been a long day, but look at this. And even with the 2 Jet Sculptures, obviously the propaganda is working, because they have this lead right now, looking to try to extend it. The fight with the Nautilus is victorious in their favor. They've got that splashdown, and look at this. The Vaxxer is going to protect them. Like, what do they have in their arsenal to stop the vacuum right now? And it looks, the answer is that they don't really have anything. You've got those, you know, melee weapons like Stampers that can get into a vac and stop it, but there's no real tools that 37 Beautiful Boys has right now. Their only choice if they want to stop it prematurely is to fill it up, and that's a little bit of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, if one of them is gonna vac the Rainmaker, will the other one vac the vacuum that's vacuuming the Rainmaker? Like, do you want to just try to run with, like, a double vacuum shield or barrier? Like, was that the intention? I mean, I'm so curious. Like, I want to see this comp specifically in action, because you also have the Trizuka, and I believe, yeah, that is the triple splashdown Nautilus to follow up with it. So I really would like to know what's happening in that voice chat with this discussion here, and they're just kind of like, yeah, let's go with this. Let's kind of like see what we can do with it. But clearly it's working, because we're over halfway. We're entering the second half of the game here, and they're at the 28 mark, Toma. Like, there's still ground to be made up by 37 Beautiful Boys, and they literally just tapped that Rainmaker and immediately lost it. So, like, something for Justice for Spargo is working out here.
You know, I think that they're cooking, Sap. I think that maybe the double Jet Sculpture meta should be the next new thing. It's the breath of fresh air that the game needs.
Here goes. Okay, there's the one.
Yep, they're gonna bring it out. Do they have the other one online?
No,
right now?
the other one is Hell's Rainmaker.
Oh! gosh, this is insane. I saw it. I was kind of like, this is like a meme comp, but like, why did it low key cook?
No, it totally worked because in those final seconds, like Dark was in the right position. They were narrowly avoiding the sloshing machine that was coming up behind them. For one thing, just watching the delay on the stream on Twitch, like I just noticed that like they were literally the sloshing machine was about to take the vac from Dark out, and luckily you can see Cumbel there. They just had it in their hand, and I think the blast from the vacuum kind of defended them from the right-hand side because they went over to the left to climb the podium. So, I don't know, Toma. I'm pretty speechless here. Like, how did they have the paint output? I don't know. That was something.
I was speechless too. I'm like, is my brain like working right? Like the whole first half.
Am
of
I
that,
seeing this?
I felt
Yeah.
like I've clearly gotta brush up on some things because I was speechless truly, and I don't think I've ever been that like shaken to the core in the middle
thought your
of a
mic cut out for a
commentary.
second. I thought your mic cut out. I was like, hello?
It was actually my brain cutting out.
Yeah, it was actually my
clue.
brain short-circuiting because, like, what was I just watching? What was that?
Oh
But
my
it
god.
cooked, you're right, it low-key cooked. They brought all of their own ingredients with that one.
And it did cook, and it cooked so hard, they're going to be going off to grand finals where maybe we will see something like that happen again. Who knows?
I sure hope so, because, I mean, what are you thinking? Again, what is happening in that voice chat? I want to be a part of the conversation, because, like, words, like, you and I both are like, but listen, so we're looking at grand finals, right? That's our next step. That's our next stop on this SOS 147 train, right? So Justice for Spargo is waiting for us there. However, on the lower side of the bracket, you have Star and my filter thing for my thing, but whatever. You have Star and you have Lenny Face facing each other. I would like you to look at the bracket. For those of you, / bracket in the chat. Look at this. It's Star it's a Star like emoticon versus Lenny Face.
I'm convinced that they're like some of these teams they got it out for us commentators. They're like, what can we do that can possibly make it as confusing as possible to reference our team?
I know, I'm trying to like think about this. Like, what? Are the TOs gonna come into the stream chat and be like, "Hey, actually, this Star is Gabugaba Star," just like Lenny Face. Toma and I were told that Face is actually Lenny Face, and I've never heard of that in my life. I've never heard of that face being called that.
Neither have I. It's just a face that I've seen people use. Like, I didn't know it had a name. I guess I shouldn't be surprised though.
Right, and also I want to just mention, like, I'm pretty sure one of my friends has this face, like, copy-pasted as one of her friend's contacts. Anyways, Toma, we know that LTC is coming, right? It's just a few days away. We're all really excited. However, did you guys know that there is another LAN happening called MomoCon?
Yeah, MomoCon is going to be happening. Splatoon 3 will be there at MomoCon in Atlanta, Georgia. That's going to be May 24th through 26th. So y'all, if you enjoyed LTC and you're in that area, come enjoy that competition as well and explore the largest anime convention center in the Southeast US. They've got plenty of things, panels for anime, games, comics, more, huge vendors and artist alleys, and overnight cabinet arcade access, as well as, guess what, Saf, at $1,000 bot bonus, or pot bonus. That is huge. And
That's the prize pool?
That's what it looks like according to my little message here that I've
And
got.
Splatoon 3 is gonna be there?
Yeah, and that's huge. I'm gonna click this right now, because last I saw, I don't even think that Splatoon had that many teams signed up at the moment. Can I look at this? Is there a way to view teams? I don't know if there's a way to view teams. Last time I heard there were not a huge number of teams signed up for this event yet. So, you're kind of looking pretty good too if you go sign up for it now.
Yeah, and I think it's really great too that Splatoon is going to be at not only at an anime convention, but it's like there's representation of Splatoon like in that part of the US, like in the South over there. Um and I mean I'm a little less familiar with some of our local lands. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, come to Sea Battle. So I'm a little less familiar with some of our other local lands that we have in the scene, but it again, like it's one of those things if you're not aware of like the presence of Splatoon in other places, like and you are someone that maybe lives near like in Florida, or I believe this is in Atlanta, Georgia, correct?
Yes, it is in Atlanta,
Yes.
Georgia.
It's in Atlanta. So I would encourage anybody if you're in that area, if you're around there and if you can make it, I mean try to go to that event. That would be like so cool and also just like showing that representation for this game at an event like that and especially I feel like at an anime convention, I mean that like those things I feel pair very nicely. For so I mean if you end up going to MomoCon, like please enjoy yourself. Also post pictures. Post pictures when you go to lands.
Yeah, I mean, I think I made the mistake last year of not taking enough pictures, and I highly regret that. I will be taking way more this year because honestly, it's so much fun. It's being able to, and I'm not a hugely like extroverted out there person. I'm pretty introverted by nature. I put myself out there for TOing and for commentary. But being able to go out and actually meet so many people in this community, getting to say like, oh, these are the people I see playing in my tournaments. These are the people I, TO with or I commentate with. It's so cool and it's such a good experience.
Yeah, and like I don't know, nobody should shy away from that. So if MomoCon is close to you and of interest to you, and hey, you know what? Even if you don't go for Splatoon, if you're going for anime, that's also fine too. If there's an artist there that you really appreciate and enjoy, go for them. Go show your support. Either way, just know that MomoCon will be having a Splatoon tournament present at it at the end of May, if that interests you. But on the horizon and in front of us now, we have Low Tide City in just a few days, and we're all very excited for it. It's also the last installment of Low Tide City, however, not the last of, I don't think, events, Splatoon related events occurring, but Low Tide City is at the end.
Yes, we will be keeping out an eye for that. And we'll also be keeping an eye out for grand finals, which should be starting here pretty soon. But we are going to go to a quick break. So catch us here soon with all that grand finals action.
Hello, welcome back. Grand Finals of Great White Bracket is coming up next here on Swim or Sink 147. Just a reminder, if you can't read down below, my name is Saf. I'm here with Toma, and we are here to bring you the Grand Finals.
I'm so excited.
Listen. Also, shout outs to the CCA for rating us while we were on break. We love you. We appreciate you.
CCA.
We see you. But listen, Toma, our top 2 seeds are who are in Grand Finals right now. You have Justice for Spargo, who we saw have a dominating presence and fight versus 37 Beautiful Boys. And then you have, bringing up the bottom end of the Great White Bracket, you have Star coming in here. And again, to look at these rosters, Toma, you have stacked players on either side. People that are no strangers to the SOS gauntlet, and people that have actually won SOS multiple times also here as well. So no strangers to it, here to try to take another gold medal under their belts, wrap it around their necks, and go in for the top. They want the top spot on edition 147 here. So both have had really great fights throughout. They're now coming into the finals, and Splat Zones on Robo Ramen is where we're going to see that fight initiate.
Yes, it is, and I am a big fan of this map. I think it's a lot of fun. As far as Splat Zones maps go, you have these really interesting options with the flanks in the part of the map that goes underneath the main area, allowing you to kind of get between both sides unnoticed if you're a little bit sneaky about it. But of course, the zone's still pretty wide open in the middle of the map. It's really still strong for the meta options that we've been seeing, like Zuka, Pencil, and whatnot, that can just lay down a lot of paint, has a really open sight line still, so it can be quite dangerous. I think it's a map that is able to, while it still has those really strong options for the meta weapons, does have some extra options on those sides, on those flanks, that make some other weapons a little bit more viable too.
Yeah, and it's like you said, Splat Zones on this one is really challenging because a lot of times it really does come down to where is that really tiny opening in the team fight right in the beginning. Because right in the beginning already, like, you're trying to bum rush it for the middle zone. You want to get as much paint down on the ground as possible. You also want to be painting down in the margins, as you were talking about, because you don't be silly showing up to mid with no special on your belt, okay? Especially when you're going into the team fight, like, you want, especially if you have a more aggressive and fight initiator special, you want to be having that, like, at the waistline, ready to go when you're going into mid for the firefight. And then hopefully whoever your backline is, whether it be a Pencil, whether it be something else, is there to help you pick up the pieces and follow up. So, from what we've seen so far with Justice for Spargo, I mean, they've wasted no time! And Toma, look at the double C-Jet is back, but this time it is C-Jet Edition. So, if you have not been here yet for SOS, for this particular Great White Bracket, Justice for Spargo has been running a double jet comp. They ran it once in Rainmaker with double vac. It was amazing. But it looks
happening?
like...
Why,
are we waiting?
Okay, something must be happening.
Okay, listen. I was so jazzed about that. Are they changing the double squelch? Well, I'm not going to stop telling my story because I really, really appreciate this. They ran double vanilla squelcher in Rainmaker on Crab Lake Capital earlier, and they cooked with it. If you are just now joining us here, they cooked with it. And so seeing them come out with this double custom jet squelcher comp, we're a little flabbergasted. We want to know more about that. However, was it intentional?
So I'm looking into the to the little chat. So it looks like right now it was ended. Splatter color screen was banned in this set, or at least indicated by Sendo, and it looks like one of the teams did not realize that. So that is why the match closed. So they're trying to figure out right now whether they need to change up or if people are cool with it. So we'll give them a little bit to sort that out.
Okay, perfect. A little grace period with that. But already, I mean, opening statements. Wowie zowie. Double Inkstorm and it's C-Jet? Hello?
That was the crazy, and I was the double jet comp too, and I loved it.
I believe in it now. I believe in it now. After seeing that Rainmaker Crableg game, I believe in it. Like that double vacuum. It wasn't even just double vac, Toma. It was double jet vac with marker. There was no markers. That entire game either. Actually, to reflect back on that, they didn't use marker the entire time. There was
Who
no
needs marker. Just
Who needs it?
Only ink vac. That's all you need.
Oh my gosh. That's so wild. I mean, I love to see it again. I hope they continue with it. I hope they were like, yeah, you know what? Upon further review, we are going to keep this.
Yeah. I hope that they're
Oh, we're
fine.
so back. We're so back.
We're still
Okay.
back. It looks like they indicated that screen, and they've decided amongst themselves that screen is fine. So even though they indicated it banned in the set, they're gonna go ahead and play that out. They're okay with it opening up, and that'll be interesting too. I think screen is an option that could potentially help to shut down that pencil on the side of the Star team. And that screen already is going to be out and going to be causing some problems there, trying to push them back, but not going to do so for too long. You can see that zone still didn't even get flipped by Justice for Spargo, and it's actually Star that is able to come through even though they had that screen against them and find that first cap.
Yeah, and you gotta appreciate the junior there in there trying to lock it down and just try to hold as much space as they possibly can. However, now finally Justice for Spargo is going to make a follow-up here and get a ton of ink down. Look at Tumbly and Dark trying to team up with these Jet Sculptors here. They have so much range, all the range in the world, and Dark maintaining their distance, because that's exactly how you have to play this weapon, Toma. You really got to play at max range and maintain the distance between you and your opponent, and Dark executed that just perfectly. But also it gives them the paint advantage from very far away. Maybe not in pencil form for sure. However, it seems they are going to be very reliant on Crossroads and Luke here to be their aggressors, which that is clearly proven to be very palpable for them as they are in the grand final set, and we have seen what Justice for Spargo can do with that.
Yes, they can, and they have the zone now. They're going to be able to, flip this very small of a lead, but you can see even Star doesn't want to give them that, trying to contest that zone almost immediately. And this is just such a firefight back and forth. Over a minute and a half into this game, this is not usually the type of score you see at this point.
Right. And now with finally with an open space here from Justice for Spargo, only Luke being the last one standing here to try to defend. Finally, Star is able to get their name on the board once again. Their penalty now going down, trying to narrowly avoid this Trizuka shot here, but thank goodness for glass and impenetrable walls here. Ultra Solo finding some safety and moving around the screen. And I think these screen launches have been really advantageous so far for Team Justice, or Justice for Spargo here. However, I think when you have Ultra Solo pulling up though with that bubble, you gotta be really careful, because again, remember folks, when that bubble shows up, you can't paint into that space. That temporarily becomes uninkable space for you to even utilize for yourself. So I think Star's been doing an excellent job here. However, Justice for Spargo now breaking their penalty, and with a few points to boot as well. They are not letting go of this zone easily, Toma, even with so much paint on the side of Star.
No, they definitely are not, and you can see that they're trying to do what they can, but Star here is just got such a commanding presence. They're trying to take this down. That Junior comes out. Is Junior's just putting in work every time they're trying to cap that zone. Just like you said, it's so good at just popping that bubble, and it holds space so well to Sap with just its paint output in that bubble to just deny you from being able to take where it is standing. But we do have that crab tank out on the back. Or was that a crab tank? What was that? This is not crab in this match. I'm seeing things. There is a splat going down onto this zone, and look at this. The lead is finally going to change.
Yeah, and Star had to hold on so tightly for that lead to change. However, now with that bubble and the stamp to follow up here, look at a lot of that distractionary pressure taken away from the zone. Conlict going down, make it 2! Crossroads, the 2 main aggressors for Justice for Spargo now going down. All they have is the long range, and it's only one of them with Dark. But Lethal Jeff is not going to waste any time to go and take that fight. It was the time that Star needed. They're going to be taking the first game.
That is huge, and those picks came out at just the right moment, Saf. Like, talk about the key plays that needed to be made. Jeff was just blazing through there and really left Justice for Spargo with no options at the end.
Right, and but also you gotta hand it to Jeff for being so brave to infiltrate with their sploosh there, to put a lot of pressure onto Dark and Cumbly there with using those C-Jets, because they didn't want them to get in those comfortable positions where you would normally see a pencil. You know, they don't want to allow them to really utilize that range or put any paint output on the map whatsoever. So Jeff, the bravery that Jeff has with that sploosh, and I want to tell folks too, I believe Jeff is a one trick with their sploosh. And they are very, very good at playing it, and they've proven it time and time again. And this game on Splatoon's Roboramen is no different. They are very skilled at what they do, and they are not afraid to go in for the kill and take the flanks. So, Rainmaker Humpback Pump Track, this one's a classic. However, the flanking routes are not as successful here because those checkpoints are there, right in the open.
Yes, they are. But still, this is a map where if you can kind of just zoom forward like Jeff was able to do, you can clear a lot of space here. This is a very much so, you have to watch out when that checkpoint breaks, Saf, because the points go unbelievably fast. Every kill matters there, and you have to just think about, hey, is this fight worth taking right now, or do I want to let them score, you know, maybe 5-10 points extra before I stop them, just to prevent the situation where they pick you and then all of a sudden now that Rainmaker's at the pedestal.
And the other thing about that as well is if you have somebody that is so speedy to get to your backline and infiltrate into your base as quickly as someone like Jeff can, you gotta be watching for that. You gotta be watching for, like, okay, this person does know how to be slippery and get through those smaller entry points. And it's one of those things you gotta really take into awareness, because it's something that can be really easily missed. However, I think for folks like Crossroad and Dark, I mean, Crossroad and Luke, who are just so well paired up on the front line there, and I believe that's Crossroad pulling out that 52 gal again. Yeah, absolutely. And Crossroad and Luke have been frequently playing these two weapons. I believe the Splatter Shot is actually one of the only two weapons that Luke tends to play. So two very, very aggressive players going up against somebody who is also very aggressive, but in a more low-key manner. So as opening statements here are going to be made, 2 members of Justice for Spargo, make it 3, are going to be going down here as Team Star is going to sail their way to that first checkpoint there, and finally it's going to fall, and barely 30 seconds have passed.
Yeah, huge lead there at just the beginning to just go so fast into that checkpoint. You see Mar getting the jump out, not wanting to die to that Rainmaker pop. But there are 2 down on Justice for Spargo at this moment. If they can get the pick here with Jeff going forward, they may have the opportunity to continue this push. Jeff going to be looking forward, trying to see what space they can create. Mar waiting for just a second in this elbow for the way to get cleared. And there you go. You start to see these points falling off. And there we go. More to be earned, down to 17. And this is what I was talking about, Saf. These points go so fast. You have to be really careful. And with that 3 down situation, they're still at a point where if they could, I was going to say if they can get to that Rainmaker, they could maybe dunk, but it looks like Justice for Spargo is like, hey, we're not letting that happen. We're going to just drop it right back into me.
And they are, and look at this, Crossroads gonna waste no time here. They're looking in on this right-hand flank. Yeah, the pressure is going in on the left-hand side, sure. But again, if all of your arsenal is on the inside, it leaves room for Crossroad to come out and clean up the mess. Look at that, the Rainmaker's still on that pedestal, and they're gonna find the dunk anyways to pop that first checkpoint. And they're gonna stay present on this left-hand side, popping that killer whale. The jump is coming in. You can see members of Star are gonna try their best to spread out here. And the flank thankfully being called out for Jeff, as they're gonna probably end it in a wipeout right there at the 26 mark. That could have been dicey, Toma. That could have been
was
scary.
Huge attempt. That points, like, if you think the points go fast on the other side of the map, the points go there insanely fast. It's just the trade-off of how much harder it is to push on that side. And Justice for Spargo, it just showed that they were able to, you know, at least force it up there. And a push to 26 on that side is very respectable, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough to stop Star now here at this 10-point mark. They do have this whale out, and it is 2 down on the side of Spargo. Star definitely has the potential to face a wipe out here, and they push it now down to 6, and they still continue to have 2 down on Justice for Spargo.
Yeah, Justice for Spargo is all eyes on the Rainmaker. There was an oncoming threat from the right-hand side from Conlict on their point of view here, and still that didn't matter. You want to defend that Rainmaker. You want to try to get the reset and operate. Look at all 3 of these members defending this Rainmaker with their lives, Toma. That could have been so bad with a misplaced splat bomb or suction bomb. But finally, the Rainmaker is going to reset. We have 2 minutes left in the game. Dark is just going to zoom through on the Kraken with some Trizuka action and Killer Whale to follow up. That's 3 specials by Justice for Spargo being popped as they pick up the Rainmaker once again to try to reinitiate their push. And they're at the first checkpoint, but so much pressure coming in from this left-hand side here with the Killer Whale coming out. But look at Luke! Look at Luke over there! Oh, they broke through to the platform there, Toma. They finally jumped down, though, just to give themselves some safety. But holy smokes! Luke also playing the sneaky game to try to break through, but this is where the firefight for Justice for Spargo is really going to matter.
Huge. I think we're going to see a lead change. Oh my god, 1 point! 1 point! Oh my gosh, that was beautifully played. You saw how well they brought that together, waited until the exact right moment to push, but it just was, this is how close this is. These teams are so neck and neck with each other.
Yeah, look at Jeff just holding on to this Rainmaker here, probably just waiting for a plan as we enter the last minute of the game here. All of these fights are just kind of going down, but there's only 1 member of Justice for Spargo left alive. But I don't think that Star is really going to risk it here, Toma. I think they just want to hold on to their biscuits and clutch them like their pearls, because look at Jeff holding on to this Rainmaker. They're going to try to outrun the Kraken, and they're almost successful in doing it as the Rainmaker now pops down into the pit area. But that is a great place for Star to defend it in the last 30 seconds.
This is huge. Oh my gosh, Saf. Like, the picks coming out, the way that they're holding the space right now. Mar does have to back up a little bit facing this pressure, but the Rainmaker's in such an awkward position now for Justice for Spargo to continue this push. Mars up here just poking down at them, making sure that they're not going to be able to grab it. The 5 seconds remaining, now they have to kind of make a Hail Mary across the rest of this map, and that's going to be hard to do when you're the only one up. Mars staring down at you, that Rainmaker is alone and isolated, and that is going to be your game. Star now taking this set to 2-0. They have 1 more game left to try to take this tournament, but holy Saf, that push down to the 1 point difference was insane.
Yeah, it's oh my gosh, dude. It's like sipping your favorite cold drink on a hot day. Like that was chef's kiss. That stop right at the 1 point mark. You could tell that they were sweating because Jeff, you could tell that there was no thought head empty on that Rainmaker pickup. They were like, we gotta get it off, we gotta get it off, we gotta get it off the platform. It's like the Rainmaker shield is touching the pedestal at this point. Like, it's like, this is way too close for comfort. We gotta get it off the plat. That was a huge turnaround for Star to have to prevent that win from Justice for Spargo. But Justice for Spargo within reach of that win. I mean, seconds from that win, just 1 unit point away from flipping that lead into a win. And so Star cannot rest here. As we go into Museum, this could be the final game. This could turn into something that's going to take them a little bit longer to accomplish. But one thing is for certain, there ain't no less for the Wicked, dude. And the Wicked right now is Team Star.
Absolutely. And the way that, I mean, both of these games have been fairly close. The Splat Zone's Robo game got away when Jeff was able to really get in and get those picks, but we saw for the longest time, it was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and teams were having a hard time really having dominant control of that zone. In this Rainmaker game, just coming down to a single point, these teams are neck and neck, but Star is just managing to edge out that extra aggression. They're managing to make those plays just a little bit better, execute those pushes just a tad faster, and that is what's keeping them alive right now.
And man, like you gotta give credit where credit is due though, because like we got to see Justice for Spargo like totally crush it earlier. I mean, I was feeling like really good about how they were doing in their last set, and I was like, man, like that's gonna be really challenging. Whoever is coming up next, like this is gonna be super tough. But then it's like you said, like Star is just, they are one step ahead. Consistently, they are one step ahead. And you have somebody like Crossroad, like I was saying, who was so beastly on that 52 gal, but then you had Ultra Solo, who can equally match that aggression. So here it is. This is the final round for Star, but could it be? Because we are at a match point, but Justice for Spargo could turn it around, and Toma, it looks like we are trying to bring everything up front to the table because the comps have now very much shifted towards the meta.
Yes, they definitely are. I'm interested to see this Viper Deco too. You could place some cheeky little beacons that could really work out well for Justice for Spargo if they're able to find those in the right position. So Star is definitely going to have to be paying attention to their map and making sure that they're denying Spargo from using those. And right now, as we always say, just a little bit of team deathmatch in the mid, and Jeff is definitely picking up some of those kills, and they have the clams to try to make a push, but unfortunately you saw that power clam going down there on the block, not going to be able to find this basket open just yet, but they are held in a good position, and they definitely have the clams. If they get some more picks, that they'll be able to just get right back up there again.
Yeah, and looking at this, J-Rod is going to take full advantage of the splat wall over on the right-hand side here. They have two different members of Justice for Spargo, make it 3 in their sights, trying to help out that power clam over there. But Jeff's going to be finding contact with one member, Crossroad, pushing them into the corner. So Crossroad is going to be flanked from both sides to find safety and away from the chaos and building a power clam at that. Wow, what a treat to get to see this perspective, as they also are able to retreat and grab Cooler to return in for the fight for Justice for Spargo.
When I saw the shooting from behind, I was like, oh no, this is it. Like they're about to be sent back to squad, but the survivability that they have, Sap, absolutely admirable. Right now, again, we're just kind of stuck into this situation of neutral, as both these teams are super scrappy, looking to find these fights in mid, and neither team has really been able to gain that space that they need off of it. This is showing how well these teams are matched against each other, trade for trade, going down time after time again. And Saf, I think this is where that Justice for Spargo needs to start finding their win, but 2 down might put them in a little bit of a dangerous situation, and Jeff up here on that hammer could be really bad news.
Yeah, and look at this. You can see Jeff is still alive, just barely in the corner with a lot of clams to spare. Finally, contact on the basket is going to be made for Team Star, and with a lot of follow-up at that. Look at this. Taking full advantage of the space that they have on the platform area. J-Rod trying to follow up with a few more clams, maybe trying to assess the damage here if they want to keep it going, but it looks like that the push for Star is going to end at the 62 mark, but the fight is just beginning. As you can see, there's still a couple of them present on that platform and present in mid as well, enticing the members of Justice for Spargo to come down and try and just take a battle or two with them, but finding little to no success because a lot of trades are going to be going down.
Oh my god, the fight there with Jeff too, like able to survive that, unfortunately not finding another pick after it, but just staying alive time after time. But now it is Justice for Spargo in a great position with the full wipe onto Star. We're going to see the lead flip there as they got clams to add still down through the 47 mark, and you can still see they're cycling more clams. They're going to be tossing them up there into that basket off the block, down to 29 now. This is the kind of win that they have needed.
Oh! And there we go, finally, Justice for Spargo ending their situation in the wipeout. But Ultra Solo is already there to respond to him with the splash wall to follow up, and you can see nobody is able to damage them as they are able to successfully retreat. But all of their teammates are going to be trying to push up to the platform area. They're looking in, maybe can they jump with a power climb, but it looks like it's actually just going to be a solo pop. But perhaps with adding in the solo pop that did flush out the members of Justice for Spargo, that did call to arms those folks to try to come in and defend the basket, but it also, in a way, it gave their positioning away. So now with Star, once again having another power clam at their disposal to follow up here, the economy is really high for both sides, but the use of specials and how they're going to use mechanical advantage is going to be crucial as we enter the last 30 seconds.
Yes, it will be, and there's definitely clams on this map to make the comeback if you're Star, but you've got to find these picks right now. They do have 2 specials. J-Rod looking here, trying to find the pencil, but the pencil gets J-Rod. That is huge for the side of Justice for Spargo's defense. Will they be able to save that power clam in time? It doesn't look like it, but they are going to get some more clams here on this map. 12 seconds left to go. Here comes that hammer, but it is shut down. This defense looks like it might be really good here. They just have to keep it up a little bit longer. Just the pencil online for Star. This is Justice for Spargo's moment.
Yeah, now that we enter overtime, there are power clams on both sides to be had here. However, Star needs to be keeping theirs alive if they want to be in the game for just a little bit longer. Now they'll have the man advantage, but it's going to be neutralized in a trade and make it twice neutralized, as it is now 2 versus 2 situation. The clock being run out. Justice for Spargo is still in it, baby.
Oh my gosh, what a crazy game there too. And Saf, you know, I was getting a little bit worried there for a while with the way that that game opened, the way that neither team was really able to find their way to the basket, but it seemed in general that Star was winning a bit more of those engagements. And after they broke that basket, I was like, okay, we got to get it together, Justice for Spargo, and get it together they did.
Yeah, and I mean, it really did come down to that initial mid-game push, because already, like, the opening statement being made by Star, it's like, oh, well, like, man, like, we gotta follow up, we gotta fix this, we gotta regroup here, we gotta recalibrate. But then again, like, when you got the clam spawns and the economy on your side, like Justice for Spargo did, they were able to make quite a dent on their penalty, or like on their points, and like even their penalty like wasn't very significant either. So like it was easily a doable thing to try to combat. And so Justice for Spargo getting that really, really big mid-game push. After that point, it was just like, okay, it's all defense from here, which we have already seen Justice for Spargo can easily manage and easily do. That is no feat or like new feat to them. So I think that they're kind of, it seems like their game plan with like a lot of other teams that we've seen before, but especially at this type of the level of gameplay, it's like, let's throw the really strong punch first. And then after that, like, it's all gravy.
Yes, I agree. And I need to see them take that same kind of momentum, the same kind of win they had behind them through that push into this next game on Splat Zones, Inkblot. We saw last time Splat Zones was so back and forth. It actually is Splat Zones, Rainmaker Clan. Is this supposed to be tower control? I do wonder.
I was gonna say, you're telling me that we're playing Splat Zones Inkblot and we're not playing old Reliable and we're in the finals?
Yeah, I thought about it and I was like, I was like, hold up. This doesn't look correct. And also Splat Zones Inkblot into Splat Zones Mako Mart. I'm like, I'm opening Sendo. It's tower control. We're on tower control Inkblot.
Okay, so don't believe what you're reading right now. Believe the voices in your head, which is us. It's actually tower control and Inkblot. But don't worry. Do not fret. It will still be happening because again, it's reliable. You can't get rid of tower control Inkblot. It's a classic.
Yes, it is, and we're gonna be seeing who loads out here, and I mean, pretty much the same comp on both sides, except for I think the return of the Junior is coming out on the side of Star.
Yeah, the return of the Junior, but look at this, an opening statement to be made as 2 members of Star immediately go down in the middle section there. 20 seconds have passed, and Justice for Spargo is going to be the first to get their feet onto that tower. And already, Luke and Crossroad are trying to follow up here on the left-hand side. That Trizuka being popped, providing a lot of, like, clearance space for the tower to keep moving, as Dark with the pencil is going to be the one posted up there. But with the wipeout occurring, I mean, did you see that, Toma? I blinked and it was like 1 down, 3 down. Oh my gosh, we're wiped out already. And now, I mean, look at this. Jeff is already in the spawn of Justice for Spargo. Like, what? I blinked and they were there. They teleported.
That's just the speed of Star. We've seen them do it time and time again throughout this set already. They are a fast team. They're going to waste no time of capitalizing off man advantages. And especially Jeff, who just has that swoosh movement and can run forward so fast. Though at the moment, it looks like they are gearing up for another push, getting one down on to Justice for Spargo. There's another one, this Viper here in the corner. And it looks like Justice is going to run around for a while, wait to figure out where everybody is. Now choosing to push that Viper. Going to heal a little bit in this ink before trying to take it on. And they are just dodging around this block expertly, taking the fight with another person, able to clear it up. Means that now they should be able to hopefully take this checkpoint. But of course, as soon as I say that, they go 2 down too. Just a little bit of a commentator's curse moment.
And here, Justice for Spargo now having multiple specials online. Again, though, trying to get something started, but immediately shut down by Team Star. It's kind of just been a tip for tat throughout the entirety of it, because neither team can really get some momentum going past the second checkpoint.
This is true, but it looks like this first checkpoint has fallen now, and we are going to have the opportunity to try to get up here to this second checkpoint, Saf. And look at that, though, the pressure from Justice for Spargo trying to deny them from doing that does mean that tower is going to start returning. They aren't even able to attempt the second checkpoint at this point.
Yeah, and look at that. I like that Crossroads utilized the advantage of the Tri-Strikes as a smoke screen. They do go down in a trade, and you can see Jeff is going to try to take the fight with Cumbly, and again going down in a trade. So 2 different members, or 3 members of Star now going down. Finally, on the back foot, Justice for Spargo is going to try to push forward here and make another statement once again. I mean, Toma, this has just been super back and forth. I mean, a lot of the action is happening before you and I can even comment on it. There we go, though. Justice for Spargo now taking the lead again. This is where the snowballing normally happens, when you get close to that second checkpoint finish. However, if you are someone like Team Star and can come back out on top really quickly here, you can prevent that checkpoint break from happening. Because look at that, only 1 square left.
That is a huge defense for them. And Saf, you know, that second checkpoint not breaking can be big, because this is a map where, yeah, it is hard to get that second checkpoint, but it's not so hard that you don't see it broken a lot of the time.
Not unheard of. Not unheard of.
Exactly. So now Star just needs to break that checkpoint to try to get the win. And they have to do that, though, they have to force Justice for Spargo out of this area before they can do it. You see this tower still just has a lot of Justice for Spargo's ink around it, and you can see that they're not quite in control of mid on the side of Star yet to be able to get anything going, especially with 2 down there from the flank, having to turn around to find Luke. And I think this is the difference that you're seeing them do right now. I think that Justice for Spargo has been getting behind Star's lines a lot during this match.
Yeah, you can tell Luke and Crossroad, like, it seems like Crossroad is the one that's kind of bringing people out to the side pieces, and then Luke is kind of like the infiltrator. Consistently, we've seen Luke behind the front lines of Team Star, and I mean, that's been really detrimental to them. But finally here, they are going to stop the onslaught coming from Justice for Spargo. They want to try to make a proper response here. You can see Jeff trying to go in for the sharking tactic, trying to waste the Trizuka. Luke didn't even get to finish it, so the Tri-Strikes are going to come out. The hammer is going to fly across the screen into the pencil, but not find contact quite yet. But that tower is still going to move, and finally we are on to the second checkpoint, and the lead is going to flip here.
Yes, it is, and that is huge. Just by 1 point, we're seeing a little bit of a repeat there with this 1 point at this point. And now Justice for Spargo needs to find it back and try to find the 1 point in the opposite direction, but that checkpoint not falling earlier can be crucial here, Saf, because they're going to have to stay at that checkpoint the entire time to be able to break it. And they are in a good position. They just have to watch out for Jeff on that tower. 2 down on the side of Justice for Spargo. Oh my gosh, Saf!
Oh my gosh, Jeff got in perfect position to line up that hammer. Dark trying to stay behind that tower. You could see Conlict was trying to throw those tri-strikes as a smokescreen, but they popped them just a little too early because as soon as that hammer came in, that was 2 people being taken down and someone there to follow up and climb onto that tower. So, I mean, Toma, the final splats of that game came down to a hammer throw.
Yeah, that
It
was...
wasn't even GG Strikes. Forget GG Booyah. Forget
GG
GG
Hammer.
Strikes. Don't even think about GG Reef Slider. Don't even think about her. GG Hammer. Hammer strong, my friends. Hammer strong. Congratulations to Team Star for taking home the gold in Swim or Sink 147. Congratulations.
Insane, Saf. Like, oh my gosh. And I was worried there for a second for the side of Star. I was like, okay, you started off really strong and this looks like it's going to a game 5, but talk about clutching it up at like just the right time.
Well, you know, Toma, you and I talk so much. We frequently talk about teams that are like the idea of like being evenly matched with somebody.
Mhm.
What you guys just witnessed here, this is quite literally the definition of being evenly matched with your competitor.
Literally
Because
2 out of 4 of those matches, 1 point
2
difference.
out of 4. 2 out of 4 were a 1-point difference, and the other 2 were maybe just like a very simple blunder that happened for that to like change, you know? And but you know what? That's one other thing I want to mention is that I appreciate so much that even in like the highest level of gameplay, folks still make mistakes. Even if they're simple mistakes, they can be complex mistakes, but mistakes still happen no matter where you are at, like no matter where your skill level is at. But sometimes it really does come down to just that 1 point, and neither team was doing anything incorrectly. I want to state that again. Neither thing was done incorrect. Like it was all correct from the start. It really did come down to those 1 frame moments of like, who can be on the tower for just that right second? Who's gonna pop their special, like, with just a couple seconds left remaining, a couple units remaining on the tower? And, like, I mean, props off to Jeff, too, for taking the high ground, because if we had replays, man, you would see them run back behind that bats area, and they got on the high ground near the mushroom and just yeeted their stamp. Yeah, they just yeeted it at the tower, and, like, that was the game-winning splats right there. That opened up the gauntlet. The gauntlet, I've been saying that a lot. That opened up the corridor. That was the word I'm looking for, to get on that tower safely. So it just wonderful game from both sides. That was an excellent set to watch. Definitely another one for the books to be reviewed.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations.
Yeah, big congrats to them. But that was just wow, huge set, Star, and you oh my gosh, Justice for Spargo. I closed Sendo Inc. I was like, what's their name? Was great matches. I don't think I could have asked for a better grand finals leading up to LTC, which, speaking of, we are going to be signing off, and you can find both me and Saf at LTC roaming around the streets this weekend. But where outside of LTC can the good people find you, Saf?
You can find me on Twitter if you want to. My handle's right there. It's right here. If you, yeah, it's right here. And I'm like, okay. It's right here. If you want to follow me, please do. Follow me on Twitter. Say hello. If you're at LTC, please come say hello. I would love to meet you and shake your hand. I'm also someone that likes to give hugs if you're into that kind of thing. But Toma, what about you on the interwebs? If I were to sit down and open a web page, Internet Explorer, where would I find you?
Well, after you would get the page to load in approximately 3 to 5 years, you would find me on Twitter at Crest of Gautier, or right here at Twitch at twitch.tv/T_Toma_. But thank you, everybody, once again for coming out and supporting us here at SOS, and we will see y'all later this week.